Andrew, half the potassium videos online treat a drugstore capsule like a blood pressure reset button. If food patterns and pills are not the same exposure, why do so many people start with a tiny tablet and expect the same vascular results as a produce-heavy plate?
Because your kidneys and blood vessels are balancing sodium and potassium continuously, not chasing a brand. Higher potassium intake helps the kidney excrete sodium and can support healthier vascular tone, which is why potassium-rich dietary patterns often track with lower blood pressure. That mechanism is real. The leap that fails is assuming a low-dose capsule recreates a produce-heavy day. You can absorb potassium from food or pills, but food usually delivers far more mineral while also changing sodium load and overall diet quality. So when prevention guidance talks about potassium, it is usually talking about that pattern exposure, not a random bottle.
When someone says high potassium foods for hypertension, are they talking about the electrolyte itself, or about swapping salty packaged food for fruit, beans, potatoes, and greens that change more than one lever at once?
Usually both travel together. Beans, potatoes, leafy greens, yogurt, and fruit raise potassium while often cutting the sodium density of the plate. A capsule can nudge potassium upward without fixing the sodium side. That is why evidence summaries that only celebrate the mineral miss the pattern. Government supplement fact sheets and cardiovascular prevention guidance keep returning to food-first potassium for blood pressure biology, not to megadose pills as the default tool. If your baseline diet is already salty and low in plants, the plate change is doing heavier work than a low-milligram tablet. Trace the pathway as intake, gut absorption, serum concentration, then kidney handling before vascular and cardiac effects. Healthy kidneys clear extra potassium efficiently. That clearance protects people eating potassium-rich foods and becomes a hazard when clearance is impaired. Retail supplements sit under a practical dose ceiling partly because concentrated potassium can raise blood levels faster than a slow food pattern in the wrong medical context. The ceiling is not a marketing inconvenience. It is a physiology boundary written into product design.
What about the trial numbers people quote? I saw a combination product with olive leaf extract plus about 300 milligrams of potassium that reported a bigger drop in morning home blood pressure. Is that potassium winning on its own, or the whole stack getting the credit?
In that 12-week randomized placebo-controlled study, adults with untreated mild to moderate hypertension took olive leaf extract plus 300 milligrams of potassium daily. 7-day home monitoring showed morning systolic pressure falling about 5.4 millimeters of mercury more with the combination, while office readings improved in both groups. Lipids and some insulin sensitivity markers also moved favorably, and tolerance looked good. Useful adjunctive signal, not a potassium monotherapy verdict. 300 milligrams remains modest next to the thousands of milligrams a potassium-rich diet could deliver, so do not convert that result into a blank check for any capsule on the shelf. Flip the same mineral into advanced kidney disease and the goal reverses. A 2026 systematic review of nutrition education in dialysis patients found programs could lower serum potassium because high blood potassium is dangerous when kidneys cannot clear it. Certainty was often low, but the clinical direction is clear. People most likely to benefit from higher dietary potassium are not people with reduced clearance, potassium-raising drug regimens, or prior hyperkalemia. Benefit and danger share the same ion, so baseline kidney context decides which story you are in.
Does the salt form rewrite the story? Potassium citrate gets sold for bones, and potassium bicarbonate shows up in alkali or muscle pitches. Are those blood pressure tools, or completely different claims with different scoreboards?
Different scoreboards. A grade assessed review of potassium citrate in postmenopausal women found a 1-month drop in urinary NTX, a resorption marker, but no consistent effects on CTX, P1-ANPI, or calcium-related labs, and sequential analysis said the bone evidence remains thin. Separately, potassium bicarbonate in healthy older adults raised IGF, 1 over 24 weeks, yet did not improve muscle power, physical performance, or muscle mass. Marker movement is not a clinical win. and neither trial answers the retail blood pressure pill question viewers think they are buying.
Then, who should not just add a potassium pill because a video said there is a potassium epidemic? Which medication, kidney, pregnancy, and procedure checks actually matter before anyone treats this like a casual multivitamin?
Start with kidney disease, then medicines that raise potassium or blunt excretion, including several common blood pressure and heart failure drugs, plus any prior high potassium lab. NIH complementary health guidance is direct. Supplements can interact with medications and pose risks with certain medical problems or before surgery. FDA dietary supplement framing also reminds you store products are not pre-approved like drugs, and the bottle on the shelf may differ from products used at trials. Pregnancy and procedure plans belong with a clinician, not an influencer caption. If those boxes are unchecked, the responsible move is pause, not purchase. If you and your clinician decide a potassium-rich diet or a supervised supplement is appropriate, judge response the way that combination trial did. Repeated home blood pressure averages, not one lucky clinic reading, and not subjective energy claims. Expect modest adjunctive change at best. If the promise was stronger bones, bigger muscles, or a cure for metabolic syndrome from potassium alone, current salt form trials do not hand you that clean yes. Change the expectation to match the endpoint the evidence actually measured.
Practically, should most people chase a potassium capsule at all, or build a food pattern first and only use pills when a clinician is targeting a documented gap after looking at labs and medicines?
For blood pressure biology, the high-yield move is still the plate. More potassium-rich plants, less sodium-heavy ultra-processed food. Low-dose retail pills sit under a safety ceiling and rarely recreate that exposure. Combination products can show adjunctive home pressure changes, but they do not erase kidney and drug boundaries. Keep the mineral, the pattern, and the dose ceiling in separate mental boxes, and bring labs plus medicines into the room whenever the question leaves the grocery aisle.